Hello there. Greetings everyone and welcome to Progressive Discussions. I am your host for Progressive Discussions, James P. Madonna, and I am with my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. EISENMAN. How are you today, sir?
Fine, fine.
It happens to be not Saturday. It happens to be Wednesday. What do they call it? Hump Day?
Hump Day, yes.
Has sexual connotations?
No. Hump Day means the middle.
Oh, the
getting over the hump.
Over the hump.
Yeah.
It happens to be Wednesday, January 25th, 2012, the infamous 2012. And why is it Wednesday, January 25th? Well, it just happens to be that. But what I'm trying to say is we did not, did we do a show last Saturday?
No. Last Saturday, yes. Not this Saturday.
Oh, this Saturday, this past
Saturday was a snowstorm.
Oh, that's we had a bit of a storm here. It has been a very warm, relatively speaking.
Thank goodness.
Relatively speaking, an extremely, very mystically mild winter for 2012. Almost like, it kind of coincides with 2012. And we've been having, some of the trees are budding. And God only knows the mold spores are probably high. But the point is, we had gotten a storm and we couldn't do the show last Saturday for that reason. So we have like 2 weeks that, it's actually been almost 2 weeks since we did the Tim Tebow right-wing fundamentalism show?
I wouldn't know, but it's a week and a half since the last show.
Yeah,
period.
Week and a half. There you go.
Whether Tim Tebow was on that show or not.
Well, Tim Tebow is unfortunately still in the limelight, in the spotlight, but it was a great show, and it's getting a lot of attention. And that whole issue of right-wing fundamentalism and how they are, which probably will be in every single show we do here at Progressive Discussions. This is me prop. It is an imported blackthorn shillelagh, imported from Ireland, and it helps me emphasize many things. I love waving it around. I'm not Irish, but I love me shillelagh. Okay, it is a weapons-grade shillelagh that the British banned a long time ago. The English banned it. And that's why the Irish went to the walking stick blackthorn and not this. Anyway, it's pretty hard wood. Hopefully destined for the skulls of many right-wing conservatives, Republicans. Now, we are coming to you from the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. And I just want to go over some things because God only knows we have things to go over since it's been a while. Excuse me. It's my reading glasses. All right, now, just to recap things, I notice the magnanimous, philanthropical, somewhat generous, even though it's probably not her own money, Oprah Winfrey, who can afford her own TV station, did an interview with Chris Christie, the bloated, gluttonous, stingy, mean-spirited, greedy corporatist, the governor of our state of New Jersey, Mr. Chris Christie, and she did it. She was smiling from ear to ear. She did it at his home with his family. So for a woman that's supposed to have a lot of compassion for the poor, she sure looked happy interviewing Chris Christie. Interesting. Little sarcasm, appropriately directed. On a much lighter note, well, it's not really that much lighter, but because it's Paula Deen, get it? Lighter note. Paula Deen, the news came out that she either was diabetic or had become diabetic.
She's been diabetic for 3 years.
And she kept it a secret.
All
right, now, then the Travel Channel's No Reservations, Anthony Bourdain made a comment and ticked her off and stuff like that. But listen, the mainstream media was putting the blame on Paula Deen's traditional Southern high fat, high cholesterol recipes. And I got news for you, mainstream media and the FDA and the Department of Agriculture and the rest of the people in the establishment. It is not fat. It is not dietary fat and cholesterol that causes diabetes. It's blood sugar, insulin, coming from consumption of refined carbohydrates, which is white flour and white sugar, Syndrome X, like the late great Dr. Robert Atkins used to mention. It is from insulin, overproduction of insulin, and then eventually insulin resistance, and it is from the refined carbs. It is carbs. It is not the fat. So get it straight. I'm sure the food industry, who wrongly demonizes all fats, and the medical establishment, wouldn't like what I'm saying. But I heard the there's some kind of a deal with the pharmaceutical industry, and in regards to Paula Deen's diabetic.
Yeah, she'll be taking some kind of pill.
Yeah. So there's some connection there. So no wonder Paula Deen was on the defensive when people tried to talk to her about it. Interesting. Mitt Romney made a statement when he was trying to defend his, not disclosing his tax returns. He said something like, well, I made a little bit of money in speaker's fees. Well, guess what?
Yeah, a little bit to who?
Mitt is relative. Mitt and Romney, for 2010, made a tiny, minuscule bag of shells known as $374,317.52. Okay, which he says he didn't make that much in speaker's fees.
Remember, contrast that with the fact that only 18% of people in the United States make $20 an hour.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit my ass.
Yeah.
Now, I was watching Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart, The Daily Show.
The Daily Show. And Jon Stewart mentioned something that was very upsetting. Not that I'm upset with Jon Stewart. He has a great show, even though he jokes around a lot. But his sarcasm really zings it to the conservatives. Apparently, many electronics companies in the United States, many high-tech electronics products are produced by a company in mainland China known as Foxconn. I believe it's capital Foxconn. And the news that I got from Mr. Jon Stewart was that it seems like corporate America created the worst and world's largest sweatshop in the world, which happens to be in mainland China. Foxconn is a city within a city, literally. They have 800,000 employees that are stuffed into small dormitories. Okay. They make them work for long hours, like 12 hours straight. One guy would work 35 hours straight. They get only 31 cents an hour. Did you hear that? 31 cents an hour. And if somebody dares to try to start a union, they are thrown into Chinese prison for 12 years. Now, and there's also a rising suicide rate within the company with the Chinese employees. Gee, I wonder why. 31 cents an hour. So either this is a typical mistreatment by the Chinese government of their people, human rights violations. Either it's all that, or it's partially the mistreatment with the greed of corporate America, or the environment was completely created by corporate America. And any combination, I'm sure corporate America is not an innocent bystander, because this, I believe, is what the GOP, the greedy old party, okay, the conservative right-wing Republicans, this is a dream to them. This is one step before slavery.
They eventually would love to have that here.
Wouldn't they love that? Wouldn't they love that indeed? And it's really a sad, sad, sad bit of news that the poor people are going through that now. And of course, you know, this is the outsourcing that they wanted. This is the outsourcing that they wanted. Now, I mentioned off the air that the person who has been getting under my skin more than Chris Christie is the slimy salamander himself, the Gingrich that stole Christmas, Newt Gingrich. He's been very obnoxious, sarcastic, and annoying, and he made some sarcastic statement towards Democrats that they're not close to God like the Republicans. They're not real Christians. Ha 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 ha! Oh, isn't that funny? You know, what is that? What's the old saying? The pot calling the kettle black?
Well, you see, he's
hypocrite.
He's a good Christian now. He changed to Roman Catholic, and God forgave him. God forgave him for his indiscretions, his past indiscretions. So all of that stuff is off the table now.
Are you trying to
bring it up?
Are you trying to say Newt is born again?
Well, I don't know if he's born again, you know, because that's part of the
he should be born
Protestant way. But he became a Catholic now.
Oh, a Catholic.
He's a Roman Catholic now, along with Antonin Scalia and I believe Mr. Clarence Thomas is also a Roman Catholic.
Yeah, maybe they
on the Supreme Court.
They turn to Roman Catholic because maybe Roman Catholics are very right wing and fascist in nature, and they like
are right wing and fascist in nature,
and they like to molest, if you know what I mean. Which I'm sure Newt Gingrich would love the concept of being able to fondle and grope people of his choice. The man who is supposed to be much closer to God than Barack Obama or any other Democrat, Newt Gingrich, and I'm sure the other ones are no angels. The weirdo Sanitarium, whatever, Rick Santorum. He represents a party that has no compassion for the poor or anybody who is, you know, down on their luck. It could be handicapped people, senior citizens living on a fixed income. No compassion at all. They don't believe in social programs. They don't even believe in lousy food pantries. They don't like Social Security. They don't like any form of welfare. They don't like the minimum wage law.
Well, they like welfare.
They like welfare for the rich.
Yeah.
Wall Street bailouts, but they don't like welfare for the poor.
Yeah.
They believe in taking bribes and payoffs from the elitists, the fat cats, corporations. They believe in everything that is anti-Bible and anti-God of the Bible, but pro-Satan.
Pro the angel of light.
What is it? The author of confusion?
The author of confusion, the liar.
The father of lies?
The father of lies.
It's the devil, and their economic program is the devil's economics. So when in the 2012 GOP boys, greedy old party, when they talk about being so Christian, it's a joke. And you know what? The mainstream media says nothing about it. And after the State of the Union speech by Barack Obama, guess what I saw for the first time? The Republican view of what
Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, all of a sudden the media has to cover the Republican point of view of Barack Obama's speech. Yeah. Gee, I wonder why. The media. A friend of mine called the media over the past few days the liberal media, and he was upset with the same things, the same lies that people hear all the time. Those damn tax and spend liberals.
The talking points.
Job killers.
Baby killers.
The liberal media.
Secularists. Human secularists.
Why are the masses believing complete total lies? Don't they do their research, Dr. Bill?
Revelation 12:9. The whole world is deceived.
The whole world is deceived, indeed. It is deceived. Well, anyway, I just thought that was very amusing and hypocritical of the Newt for making that statement, which is a complete joke because they know nothing about the God of the Bible.
Correct.
The right-wing fundamentalist conservatives. That's that. Of course, people are bucking heads with me online about the whole right-wing fundamentalist holy roller stuff and the Tim Tebow, and you know the relationship. They have a personal relationship with God, and you can tell God, "Please make me win at bingo," and they still believe it. I can't change the idiots' minds. The people I know personally that believe the conservative propaganda, they still believe the crap they believe. What are you going to do with the human race? Isn't the human race amazing?
Revelation 12:9. They are deceived.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot change people's minds. When you do something to try to illustrate a truth to someone, you are only speaking to those people who have an open mind. Those are the only people who will listen and gain something from it. The amount of people that are deceived and actually end up repenting, you can count on one hand. One hand. So.
Unbelievable. Okay, I bet we have plenty of newspaper articles. Is that an accurate guess?
Probably.
Okay.
And the first.
And the first.
Will be a little bit about Mr. Obama's speech last night.
Good goobly-goo, in the words of Grady Wilson.
Mr. Obama struck the populist chords that his Republican presidential rivals have criticized as class warfare.
Maybe it is, but it's not started by the little guy.
But it's not class warfare when they want to protect their moolah.
Big Mamu.
And they want to put the burden on you. That's not class warfare.
No, the fat cats have a form of class warfare.
For the last 30-some years.
Not paying taxes, not wanting to help the poor, blaming everything on unions, blaming everything on the little guy, calling the poor people lazy, you know.
But all of that can go by the wayside because the people have just not gotten the message. The message is very clear and simple. For the last 30-some years, the rich have not paid their fair share of taxes. Pure and simple. All the other stuff is just gobbledygook.
Right.
Okay? That's the real message. And that's what they're trying to protect against. They have shifted the burden to you in the last 30-some years.
They are so desperate to avoid paying any taxes at all that they continue to lie in the U.S. media.
I seen a guy this morning on Fox.
They're that greedy.
Fox News.
Yeah.
Explaining the economy and the tax situation, all this other crap. And he used the years 1980s and up. And he was saying how great they were, blah, 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 and great for the economy.
Oh, the Reagan days?
However...
It's the Reagan days, right?
Yeah.
A joke.
Why didn't he go back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s when the tax rates were 91% and the economy was great?
Sound like Tony the Tiger. Sugar Frosted Flakes. That was pretty good, man. You got a nice pair of lungs.
Anyway, back to Mr. Obama. But he has seen his approval ratings rise on the strength of that message.
Right.
Particularly among the independent voters who helped elect him in 2008.
Right.
But had grown disappointed by his leadership in office. We can either settle for a country where a shrinking number of people do really well, while a growing number of Americans barely get by,
That's right.
Obama told a boisterous House chamber and a prime-time television audience. Or we can restore an economy where everyone gets a fair shot. Everyone does their fair share. And everyone plays by the same set of rules.
Wow, a fair society. A fair democracy.
Boy, that's something, huh? What's at stake are not democratic values or Republican values, but American values. We have to reclaim them. Obama's advisors are well aware that his pursuit of his second term is imperiled by a still staggering economy and a perception, even among those in his own party, that he has not effectively challenged Republicans to pass his economic plans.
He hasn't challenged them. He's been pussying out, wimping out, man. He should roll up his sleeves and get tough. Now's the time to get tough.
Yeah.
Now's the time, Barack Obama, to get tough. And what is this crap I hear? I didn't listen to the whole speech, but please enlighten me. Did Barack Obama say he wanted to give, like, amnesty for the Wall Street hooligans? He wanted to pardon them?
I didn't hear that part of the speech, and I don't know if he did say that, but the fact of the matter is, in the last 3 years of his term, nothing has been done.
I knew that the Democrats were jumped in bed with the elitists and were corporatist business people like the Republicans. I knew it when the public option to health care reform was taken off the table. As soon as that happened, lickety-split, I knew something was up. It went off the table a little too quickly.
Yeah. Nearly all of the roughly hour-long speech Tuesday was devoted to the economy. Obama spent only a brief time on foreign policy. He underscored that in the past year he has overseen the killing of Osama bin Laden and the end of the Iraq War.
That's about all he did.
An unpopular conflict that he had pledged to end.
And he didn't bring the boys home
in his speech
early enough, like you said. Oh, go ahead.
Obama proposed using half of the peace dividend as he ends America's wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, about $200 billion over the next 6 years, to pay for the construction of new roads, bridges, rail lines, and other infrastructure that he said is critical to the country's ability to compete in a global economy.
That it's critical?
Absolutely critical.
But what about...
But it should have been done already.
What about the American corporations changing their attitude and becoming more like the international companies and putting quality first and, and treating their employees properly? That's important too.
Well, that won't happen until the states take control. See, corporations are creations of the states.
Yeah.
Not the federal government.
Right.
So, in the old days, when we weren't so afraid of corporations, and the rich,
they're afraid, of course. The politicians are.
We used to, if a corporation did not do its due diligence for the people, we cut their their license, whatever you want to call it.
And if they fall on their face. Corporate. In the old days, they did not get any. They did not get any bailouts.
Yeah. Well, that's another example. We're gonna use the peace dividend from the wars to fix our bridges and infrastructure and stuff of that nature. Well, gee whiz, couldn't we done that with the trillions of dollars given to Wall Street?
And what about also, aside from the wars, trimming the military budget, which is extremely bloated?
Which can be... Actually, I heard Mr. Gary Knoll today say that it could be trimmed by 80%. 80%.
He might be right. It sounds like a really large amount.
Yeah, but there's a lot of waste and a lot of crap going on there, so it probably is a good figure.
I mean, I posted a real funny cartoon in the Newsletter Censored Facebook page. It said something about what a democracy really is your freedom to vote in a dictator, to vote in dictators, something of that effect. Yeah, that's what democracy.
Why wasn't it on the wall?
Huh?
Why wasn't it put on the wall?
It was put on today.
Yeah, but you just said on the Facebook. I mean,
I found it on my wall from one of my the people on friends lists or what do you call subscriptions, whatever. And I thought it was so great. I saved it and put it on our page, and you'll see it. It's cute. Anyway,
in a tacit response to criticism from his Republican rivals, he also announced that he would create a trade enforcement unit that will allow the government to more aggressively pursue unfair trade practices in countries around the world. Can we all say, China?
Yes. Yes.
As he has in the past, the president spoke optimistically about the trajectory of the economy, which he has repeatedly reminded Americans was in the depths of a recession when he took office and is now adding jobs. The unemployment rate still stands at 8.5%, dangerously high for an incumbent seeking a second term.
Yeah, 8.5.
But his focus Tuesday was on economic unfairness, a theme he has emphasized in recent weeks, most notably in a speech last month in Osawatomie, Kansas.
Oh, the land of Oz.
Then...
Osawatomie? Maybe it's short for Oz.
It's O-S.
Oh.
Not O-Z.
Oh, well. Wishful thinking, right?
There, he declared the trickle-down economics of his Republican predecessors a failure.
It never happened.
That the country should not return to in November. And Tuesday he echoed that message. As long as I'm president, I will work with anyone in this chamber to build on this momentum. But I intend to fight obstruction with action, and I will oppose any effort to return to the very same policies that brought on this economic crisis in the first place. Woo! 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 Shouldn't we have heard this like 3 years ago?
Yes.
Jeez.
He should have, listen, he should have said this after he entered the White House.
Exactly, his first inaugural address.
And he should have gotten a shillelagh, because he's half Irish, by the way. He should have gotten a shillelagh. Yeah, he is, his mother. And he should have said, the public option to health care reform is not going off the table, GOP, and I'll fight you tooth and nail. He should have did it before the Republicans took over Congress last November.
And what about the Bush tax cuts?
Screw Bush. No extended tax cuts for the rich. Off the table. That should have went off the table. But no, he waits until it's 2012 and the re-election time is coming. Desperate, well, how do they say? A desperate action for desperate measures for
whatever.
When
backed into the wall. Backed into the corner.
Right, or like my uncle used to say, when the water level reaches your nose, you start swimming, man. Even if you don't know how to swim, you start.
In the Republican response,
oh, fuck them.
Governor Mitch Daniels of Indiana said,
Bitch Daniels?
That no feature of the Obama presidency has been sadder than its constant efforts to divide us.
Oh, yeah. Chris Christie uses that, too. When a heckler heckles him, you're a hater. You're trying to divide us. You're trying to divide the American people instead of bring us all together. Oh, bring us all together? What the Republicans mean by bring us all together is the 1%, the rich. Yeah. Bring the rich all together. He doesn't mean that...
Bring us under their umbrella.
He doesn't mean that the poor are invited to come together. No, see, they leave stuff out. And the American media does not clarify any of it. You notice that, don't you?
No, of course not. The Republicans have been trying to divide us for over 30 years here.
Yeah.
To curry favor with some Americans by castigating
hot,
others.
Spicy curry. I'm sorry, curry favor?
Yes.
Say that again. I interrupted you.
Mr. Mitch O'Daniels. I made him Irish. He sounds like Irish anyway.
Mitch O'Daniels, or Bitch O'Daniels, they should call him. Bitch O'Daniels. I name him Bitch from now on. Say what I interrupted you with one of my jokes. What did you say about curry favor?
He's saying that Obama has tried to divide us.
Right.
To curry favor with some Americans by castigating others.
Yeah.
As in previous moments of national danger, we Americans are all in the same boat, Daniel said. If we drift, quarreling and pet, we will all suffer.
If you put Chris Christie on that boat, it'll capsize.
Regardless.
Like the Italian cruise ship in the Mediterranean with that jerk captain. All right, continue.
Regardless of income, race and gender, or other category, if we fail to shift to a pro-jobs, pro-growth economic policy, there will never be enough public revenue to pay for our safety net, national security, or whatever size government we decide to have. Well, if we don't tax the rich, we won't have that revenue, will we?
Yeah, taking the tax burden off the middle classes never seems to be the important issue of the day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, and by the way, I thought it was funny, speaking of that captain, I thought it was funny that all his belongings and luggage and his hoochie new girlfriend conveniently all stumbled accidentally into the lifeboat.
He was ready to go, baby.
How do you like those? How do you like those photos I forwarded you? Huh?
I saw that last night.
Yeah, amazing. Anyway, I don't think many people will be taking Italian cruise ships anytime soon for quite a while.
I don't know.
Anyway, that was a pretty good article to. Are you done?
Yeah, with that one.
Yeah, to start the show. My little monologue wasn't too long. I tried to summarize it as best I could.
Well, now we move on to the mitten.
Intermittent?
Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney.
Tax returns spanning more than 500 pages and released under political pressure on Tuesday represent an extraordinary financial accounting of one of the wealthiest U.S. presidential candidates in generations, with his annual income topping $20 million.
So there was a reason why he avoided disclosing the tax returns.
It remains unclear how the details of Romney's fortune will play among American workers, who on average earn less in a lifetime than Mitt Romney paid in taxes in 2010 alone. You know, that's the part that just doesn't get through to your average Tea Party guy or girl or red state redneck. That part never gets through. Romney paid in taxes more. Wait a minute. What did I say? He on average earned less than. Let me read it again. It remains unclear how the details of Romney's fortune will play among American workers who, on average, earn less in a lifetime than Romney paid in taxes in 2010 alone.
Interesting.
This is what the thing, 90% of Americans do not realize they will never be rich.
It's not set up that way.
Not from the start of this country.
If it
has
was
90% of Americans ever become rich.
If it was fair, like we were talking about earlier, then maybe you got a shot. You know, maybe you got a shot if things were fair and were pro small business, including mom and pop, including somebody pushing a push cart, including whatever, having a little umbrella and a little stand somewhere.
You know,
excuse me.
Many people in this country since its inception have never had to get rich to survive and live and be content. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand one thing about getting rich. It is only for the few. Because, let's say you were John D. Rockefeller.
Yeah.
got rich through oil. Well, you first had to, some way, be able to get control of that land where the oil was.
Yeah.
And then you had to get the oil out of the land, and you had to refine it, manufacture it or something, and then sell it.
Yeah.
And in so doing, you corralled that part of the business or whatever, so that it was no longer open for everybody else to become rich at that particular thing. You see? So richness, itself is a limited quantity. Limited quantity. Everybody just can't get rich at selling oil.
Well, if things were fair, then all of the tax breaks would be for the little guy only, the small business man or woman, the entrepreneur, the mom and pop stores. You would have all the tax breaks to help you.
The point is that this country was never set up to give tax breaks per se.
Yeah.
In 1913, when the tax was made constitutional, income taxes, it was progressive. Income taxes were taken from those who had the money.
Right. Now Obama wants to make sure everyone making $1 million a year or more pays no less than 30%.
But right now I believe it's 36 point something.
Yeah, what happened to 250,000 net income
that too,
people?
Yeah.
30%, 30. So what is?
Look,
he's a corporatist, man.
Look, what happened? Look, it's even daunting just to think about these things, because these things have been wrangled and wrested and twisted and etc. over all these years to benefit those up above.
Siphon up economics, to siphon up.
So, to clean this slate is a daunting job. Number one, and you can't really put a figure on who should start paying these higher taxes. But the point of it is, when the people with money were paying 70 and 91%, the economy was great. The middle class grew. There were jobs for everyone who wanted one.
Right.
Okay? And that's all you need to focus on and concentrate on. And if that's what you want for your country, then that's the way to get it. And it has nothing to do with class warfare. It has to do with the Constitution of the United States. That's the way it's set up. Period. Those who have, pay.
Right, and the Constitution of the United States, of course, should never be tampered with. But of course, G.W. Bush made sure,
Well, it can be tampered with by putting in amendments.
Yeah.
But that's how that was made. That it was supposed to be a hard job to do that.
Right.
But of course, George Bush and these guys, they just do away with amendments. They do away with the Bill of Rights. They get away with it because they have their judges in place.
Supreme Court judges?
All courts. All courts. That's been their agenda. What do you think these stuff with all these governors in all these states now? That's what they've been doing all these years, the Republicans. Putting their people in down below. You see? Grassroots. They claim the grassroots, but,
Well, I think the late President Grover Cleveland, I think it was him that said Americans will receive exactly the kind of government that they deserve. And in this case, in the 21st century, Americans are lemmings. They're naive, they're stupid, they're lazy, they don't do their research, and that's why they believe the conservative propaganda, fortified by the not the liberal media, like a friend of mine said, but the very corporate ass-kissing American media. Right. It's not liberal.
Not liberal at all. Never was.
Because if it was, they would be interviewing, for every interview with a Republican, they will be interviewing a Democrat.
Well, that's not really even the issue. The issue is that way back when they kept complaining about the liberal bias in the media, etc., and that kept quiet anybody who was seeking the truth after that. Because if you sought the truth, you say, you are picking on me, you liberal media, you. Now what we need is Fox to go against that. And that's what happened.
That believes in picking on progressive liberals and Democrats. Yeah. They pick, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what this friend of mine was saying, that they pick. They're picking on us conservative Republicans. They're picking on us. Well, hey, if you lie and you're a hypocrite and you have no compassion for the poor and you outsource all American jobs and you don't pay your taxes if you're high income. Yeah. And so on, in deregulation, which means you can screw your customers over, of course you have reason to be picked on.
Right, and if you're deceived and you don't understand all this, then of course you should be picked on.
Oh, if you're a lemming, then you're one of the deceived, like it says in Revelation. Okay, next article.
Same article. Romney's returns, which include a 2011 tax estimate, spilled out new details of his scattered holdings, tax strategies, and charitable donations. Romney paid about $3 million in federal income taxes in 2010, having earned more than 7 times that from his investments. The documents quickly became fodder for his opponents, with Democrats chiding the former Massachusetts governor for not disclosing more about his financial history. The White House also weighed in about tax fairness as President Obama prepared for his State of the Union address. Romney is hardly the only wealthy American seeking the presidency, though he's on a level all his own. His main Republican rival, the salamander, who had publicly pressed Romney to make public his tax information, released his own return for 2010 last week. It revealed that Gingrich earned more than $3.1 million, mostly from $2.5 million paid by his companies, partnerships, and investments, and paid just under $1 million in federal tax. Now, just from that reading alone, we can see that he paid like a 31% rate in taxes, whereas Mitt Romney on $20 million paid 15 or 13 point something. How do they get away with it? Obama and his wife, Michelle, reported income of $1.73 million last year, mostly from the books he's written, and paid $453,770 in federal taxes. Well, that's almost 50%, 45%.
Right.
On less money than Romney.
Yeah.
Romney makes $20 million and pays 13 point something, and Obama makes $1.73 million and pays almost 45%. Romney's got some damn good accountants, damn good CPAs. Romney's tax return showed he continues to profit from Bain Capital, the private equity firm he founded but no longer runs, from a Swiss bank account closed just as he began his campaign, and from new listings of investment funds set up overseas. Romney, a former governor of Massachusetts, had long refused to disclose any federal tax returns, then hinted he would offer a single year's return in April. Yet mounting criticism from his rivals and a hard loss in last week's South Carolina primary forced his hand. Romney has paid 100% of what he owes, said Benjamin Ginsburg, the campaign's legal counsel. Ginsburg and other advisors said Romney did not use any aggressive tax strategies to help reduce or defer his tax income. He didn't? I just pointed that up. Obviously he did. For 2011, Romney will pay about $3.2 million with an effective tax rate of about 15.4%, the campaign said. Well, that's a lie. They found out it was lower than that. Those returns haven't yet been filed. Oh, that's for 2011. With the Internal Revenue Service. In total, he would pay more than $6.2 million in taxes on $45 million in income.
You hear that?
Over the past 2 years, his campaign said. Nothing fair about that. I mean, nothing unfair about that, is there? Nothing at all.
And of course, you know, no wonder Chris Christie loves Mitt Romney and supports him. He's a real dyed-in-the-wool, a pure hardliner capitalist, isn't he?
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if you see. Actually, they give a bad name to capitalism. They're not capitalists. They're vulture capitalists.
That's
capitalism.
the term.
Capitalism has its flaws.
In other words,
it's not supposed to work.
In other words, if you're a greedy shyster, if you're a greedy son of a bitch, then you're not just a regular capitalist.
No,
you're a vulture capitalist.
That's correct.
Well, Mitt Romney and Gingrich with 1,000 double chins, the only salamander that's fat with double chins, and the obese Chris Christie, well, they're all a flock of vulture capitalists, I guess, right?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You know where salamanders hide out?
Under rotten logs.
Under rocks.
And rotted logs.
Where Mr. Nudie should be.
Listen.
The man has gall, absolute gall, to put himself before the American people and want to run for president when his own party threw him out of the Congress for ethics violations.
Of course he, he cried like a baby. You're picking on me. When Mitt Romney brought that up, right at the beginning, he cried like a baby.
Oh yeah, but the religious nuts there in South Carolina, they love that because they hate newspapers and they love when you hit back at the liberal media.
I'm surprised that Newt Gingrich won in South Carolina with his because they're so moral down there in the Bible Belt red states.
Oh,
aren't they?
But they're so willing to forgive one of their own.
Yeah, if one of their own.
Let it be a Democrat though, and they'll never forgive.
If one of their own, well, maybe that's why Jimmy Swaggart's still getting
yeah, still getting donations, baby.
See, one of their own, right-wing fundamentalists, religious nut. Okay.
They all get absolution from God.
Picks up hookers off the street, cries crocodile tears on TV to his people, saying, I have sinned. Lust is bad. It's a sin in my heart. Crocodile tears running down his face. And what does he do? He turns around and he continues to pick up hookers off the highway, and they forgive him again, and they send him more money. Well, that's what happened. That's the same way of thinking with Newt Gingrich in winning South Carolina. If it's one of their own, they're quick to forgive. But if it happens to be a progressive candidate, a Democrat, they don't stop.
There's no forgiveness in their heart.
Pecking like a woodpecker. They don't stop. There's no forgiveness.
Now, speaking of crying,
look at the agenda, though. Yeah.
The weeper in the house had a hanky with him last night because he did a little.
Oh really?
Tear shedding last night.
Did he have a slice? Did he have a slice of raw onion under the podium?
He was a little
misty.
Yeah, misty with Gabrielle Giffords there at the. She was there.
You could tell she's recovering. Poor girl.
She's doing well.
Yeah, but I mean, it could have happened to any one of them.
No, it had to happen to a progressive liberal Democrat.
Yeah, but the poor kid, But I mean, her features look exceptionally well for somebody that was shot in the head.
Yeah, well,
Wow. Her face, her body, everything, her smile. I mean, you know.
She still has a problem with the left leg, and I believe it's the left arm.
Poor thing, man. I know. But the crying part, it's like that song, that old song, Charlie Brown, da 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 da. Charlie Brown, he's a clown, that Charlie Brown.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get even. Just you wait and see. How come everybody's always picking on me? Except it's, you know, how come everybody's always picking on me? It's an old song. Was that from the late 50s or early 60s?
I don't know.
Charlie Brown.
I'm not a musicologist.
You told me you were a doo-wop man.
You know.
You like oldies. You told me that.
No. I like a lot of stuff.
Now you all of a sudden he likes a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I told him, I said, do you like classic rock, heavy metal? Oh, I don't like that. You like classic disco? I don't like that. Do you like rock from the 60s? I don't like that. I like doo-wop. He tells me. Now he changes his mind.
My numero uno like is country. Keeping country strong.
Oh, Carl Richards? Oh, yes. A salute with the shillelagh to Mr. Carl Richards and Irwin Benz of the award-winning show Time Warner Access Channel 23, Port Jervis, New York. A salute, keeping country strong. I might as well, you know, since he brought it up. Anyway.
Shall we start here, or
is it a little one?
Wait, no, it's a Christie one. Nothing could be little about Christie.
Ba-dum-bum. You know what? We'll wait. It is time for my co-host and mentors, a gastronomic delight known as lunch, followed by high green tea. Yes, the Reverend Dr. William J. EISENMAN. And I will do promo as he is chowing down and absorbing his sustenance. And I will do promo. And of course I have a little extra things to say. Facebook, Mark Zuckergeek. Or is it Mark Zuckergeek or Mark Zuckerbeek?
Zuckerberg.
Berg? Well, you know what? With all the glitches that are on Facebook, it's either Zucker Suck, Zuckergeek, or Zuckerbeek in my book. Because there's a lot of glitches on Facebook. Or faccia book, as they say in Italian. Faccia.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I guess you already know we're back. My partner, the Reverend Dr. William J. EISENMAN, is partaking in his lunch. I think he's got organic whole wheat spaghetti and meatballs. And he's enjoying himself. Now, what was I going to say? I was going to say, I'm going to do promo, but I was going to mention something.
Tim Tebow?
No, not Tim Tebow, not that.
Well, mention it, and then people will look.
Oh yeah. The show that we did a week and a half ago is on the air. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Now, the censored, on demand, archive classics, and the God Project on demand, both playlists. The video screen that has the whole entire playlist, they're both located on the Cyber Church of God webpage, which is connected to our radio station. And we figured it would be a lot better than having it on the radio station page, because if the radio station, if we were on the air with one of our shows, which is Thursday through Sunday, it would prevent people from using either censored on-demand archive classics or the God Project on demand, because you can't listen to two things at once. So the good thing about the on-demand playlists is that all the censored readings, including the ones from the past, because that's why we call it archive classics, all of them, and all the God Projects that were ever done, are conveniently on the internet on the playlists, and you just pick and choose. You click on the screen and you pick and choose which one you want to listen to, and you can listen to all of them 24/7, any one you want. You can listen to it over and over again and we don't have to be on the air because all the archived shows are there. And you know, if the radio show is on, you can listen to us, or you can go to the archived classic on-demand a video screen and enjoy yourself and just pick and choose what you want to listen to. If you feel like getting up and going to the bathroom, or somebody rings the doorbell, or you want to get a snack, you want to make some healthy organic popcorn, or whatever the hell you want to do, you can hit the pause button and come back. Now, this gentleman right over here, this is a self-portrait of my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. EISENMAN. The Reverend Dr. William J. EISENMAN is a fine watercolor artist. You can see the William J. EISENMAN collection by going online, going to Google and typing in Megalife 21 William J. EISENMAN collection, or you can go to newslettercensor.com, and some are there, or if you're on Facebook, you can go to the William J. EISENMAN Facebook profile. Nevertheless, if you see a painting you like, send him an email, ask him if the painting is still available, and then you can purchase one of his paintings. Signed by the Reverend Dr. William J. EISENMAN. William J. EISENMAN. They're original watercolor paintings. And he will, in the near future, he will be attempting to use a painting media known as gouache or gouache. It's like Goucha.
E.
Mm-hmm. No. Mm-hmm. Gouache. C-H-E. See, it's like a French word. Gouache. Gouache.
I thought it was G-U-A-C-H-E.
Whatever. It's a non-oily. It's similar to watercolors and acrylics. It's a non-oily.
It's opaque.
Opaque?
Can't see through it like watercolors.
Oh.
So.
Oh, really?
It might have the ability that I'm looking for, which is to blend like oil.
Ah, without the mess of oil.
Sfumato.
Sfumato?
As Leonardo da Vinci.
Sfumato.
Sfumato means to blend.
I thought it was an Italian genetically modified tomato.
Very funny.
Oh, very funny. Yes. I love mushrooms. I'm a fun guy. But anyway, they so this has the blending ability of oil paints.
I hope.
Without the mess of oil paints. I saw some samples of gouache paintings on the internet, and some of them are very deeply.
You can get very realistic with
colorful.
Them, yes.
They're very the brightly colored paintings are very rich looking, very intense. The reds, you know, the oranges, the greens, the yellows, whatever. The blues, but you know, they can be brightly colored, or they can be, you know, whatever you want them to be. But what you're saying is they do not allow light to penetrate it like the regular watercolors.
Yeah. And
they can be blended, which means they can be blended.
I hope.
Well, we'll try it out. Anyway, this is the new issue of Censor that just came out. What do we got here? 118?
Yep.
118. Believe it or not, 118 censors. Is this since 1977?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Every 3 months, right?
Yep.
Which is every quarter, right?
Yep.
Comes out. This is the new one, Without Natural Affection by William J. EISENMAN, Ph.D. Okay. And followed by, we haven't seen tidbits in a long time, so that means that your articles have been extra large. And then it's followed by The God Project by William J. EISENMAN, Doctor of Divinity, okay, where the Reverend Dr. William J. EISENMAN tells you what the Bible really has to say, not what phony, baloney, counterfeit Christian right-wing fundamentalists tell you what the Bible says. but what the Bible really has to say.
Yeah, who get easy forgiveness for their transgressions.
Yeah, if one of their own political cronies, or whatever you want to call them, I call them demons, right-wing demons, sins severely, they're forgiven immediately by the Republican Party. But if a progressive does anything, they never hear the end of it. Anyway, and the media never stops covering it, too. They don't help. Okay, last but not least, after the God Project, we have Sexuality, A Holistic Approach by William J. EISENMAN, Ph.D. This newsletter is the very best way to be a part of our organization and join our organization. This newsletter is the backbone of our organization. This newsletter contains more information than our talk shows or our websites. This newsletter contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, health, human sexuality, and child rearing. We are living in the end times, and you need Newsletter Censored to survive the end times. This is the real hard-hitting truth that you're not going to hear anywhere in today's mainstream media or mainstream press. You need Newsletter Censored to learn how to defeat a conservative, and you need Newsletter Censored to find out what the Bible really has to say. The real hard-hitting truth. Established and started in 1977. So go to newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. Don't forget to check out also at newslettercensored.com Dr. Bill for President. He ran before as an independent progressive, and he's running again. I believe this is the 3rd time.
Yeah.
And he will teach you how to write in a candidate and how to take the money out of politics. That's how you take the corruption out of politics. Take the money out of politics. And everything else is updated. All the ads, all the links are all updated because we make improvements. I mean, even the radio station looks better and more high-tech and more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. You know? So it's all improved. The improvement, let me make myself useful here. Things improve as time goes by, but not everything. Not everything in life improves with time. Sometimes the old-fashioned way is still the best. Not always, sometimes. But when it comes to our websites and this newsletter, they have made vast improvements, and we have everything down to a science. You know, I mean, we have, you know, Dr. Bill, I apologize for the asshole who beeped the horn out there, but progressive discussions, we have so many progressive discussions that we can literally do every day with progressive discussions. That's how many progressive discussions we have. I think a week and a half ago, I think was the 102nd progressive discussions. This is, right now, this is the 103rd, I believe, progressive discussions. Anyway, I just want to think.
I guess there's a lot to say.
I remembered, okay, well, if I remember the other thing I wanted to mention, I'll mention it when you take a pause. But anyway, back to the articles.
After delivering his annual State of the State address this week, Governor Christie traveled to Irvington.
You mean the guy who has the Cupid-looking face with the chubby cheeks and the goldfish lips?
Like a large putti.
Like a large putti, which was the Roman god that they patterned Cupid after? Putti.
Arguably one of New Jersey's most distressed cities. for a town hall meeting to champion his new feel-good slogan.
Feel good?
The Jersey Comeback.
Feel good? The only people that are feeling...
Morning in America! That was Reagan's.
The only people that are feeling good in New Jersey are the people not paying any taxes. New Jersey's wealthy.
While this soundbite might make for great headlines, it ignores many simple truths. For the last 2 years, the governor has ignored the economic and social realities of the working poor and the middle class. All of the cuts that have been instituted by his administration have disproportionately equated to tax hikes on those who earn the least. Reducing the earned income tax credit, hiking public transit fees, eliminating funding for women's health care, slashing the New Jersey After 3 school program, and scaling back eligibility for family care and Medicaid insurance have all had a direct and disproportionate impact on the lives of working families.
Boy, he has a lot of compassion, that big fat tub of lard.
Oh, yeah. Compassion for Romney.
What a selfish, gluttonous individual, this vile individual, this Chris Christie is, really.
For those of us who live in or represent some of our state's most impoverished cities, we are cautiously optimistic that the governor might use his State of the State platform to propose restoring some of these vital services. But rather than unveiling plans to help those who have truly been hit the hardest by this economy, the governor instead proposed a 10% across-the-board income tax cut. Shades of Christine Whitman.
Across the board, huh?
While this cut might look good in a cable news channel scroll, ultimately it benefits the wealthiest far more than low and middle income earners.
That's what they said about the flat tax that Mr. Forbes used to push for many years.
Essentially, what the governor proposed was an $80 tax cut for families earning $50,000 and a $7,200 tax cut for families earning $1 million. A lower income family won't even be able to pay 1 month's utility bill with this savings, while a millionaire might have several months' worth of mortgage payments. In order to achieve this, roughly $1 billion in revenue will have to be diverted from somewhere else.
Oh,
I wonder where that would be.
Helping the poor?
Bingo!
And
food pantries.
Food pantries.
Don't forget the food pantries.
Oh, that wonderful, highly nutritious, organic food from food pantries. I'm being sarcastic. Oh, they're so wonderful. Chris Christie cut them so the poor can go into dumpsters. What do they call it?
Dumpster diving.
Dumpster diving. Oh, I'm sure Christie would love that. But yeah, so you know, the rich, Chris Christie, and all the people who love him, like I said many times before, the rich are not the job creators because they outsource jobs. They're not the job creators, and welfare to help the poor. These programs do not take that much out of the budget. They really don't. They really don't. Compared to all the waste that's going into the military, you know, they don't. It's a drop in the bucket.
The obvious question is, where will all this money come from? And will it cut further into education funding or vital social services that our poorest residents rely on as a lifeline? With the latest revenue numbers this week coming in at roughly $300 million below what the governor had projected, it not only indicates that the Jersey comeback is far from real, but it raises additional concerns about where he will find the funding to support his tax cut proposal. When the governor jetted up the turnpike this week for his town hall meeting in Irvington, rather than running in and running out, I hope he removed the peripheral blinders and took a circumspect look at the realities that families in some of our poorest neighborhoods face. In order to truly help lift them out of poverty, we need a comprehensive investment, one that addresses the social ills that impact a child's learning and a family's ability to get ahead. Privatizing education and offering corporate tax credits for scholarships, as the governor proposed in his address, will not target these underlying factors. Preschool education, healthy nutrition, a productive after-school environment, and the ability to earn a livable wage are just some of the factors that impact struggling families and their children's success rate. This week, Democratic leadership in the legislature unveiled plans to raise the minimum wage, an issue we intend to tackle shortly. Most families are simply yearning for the ability to help themselves. Available jobs that pay a livable wage are a primary means for this. While the governor claimed credit for several major corporations locating or expanding in New Jersey, the fact is that these decisions had been made prior to his administration. Moreover, the impact these companies have had on local hiring is questionable. Ultimately, the governor's address was devoid of any discussion on job creation, and instead focused on tax breaks for the rich. Meanwhile, middle and low-income families struggle with the highest property taxes in the nation. Any decrease in income tax that a low or middle-income earner might see under the governor's proposed cut will easily be offset by a 2% increase in property taxes. Instead of using his speech to trumpet a 2% property tax hike as success, the governor should perhaps focus on finding a way to chop property taxes by 10%.
That's all we need in New Jersey is a hike in property taxes.
So, while the
terrible.
Jersey comeback might have a nice ring to it, I'm sure the average homeowner with a $7,000 property tax bill or the low-income family struggling to find work has a different outlook.
Well, you know, it's the same old problem rearing its ugly head. You know, the tax burden remains on the little guy.
Why do they continue to get away with it?
You know why? You know what I think a big part of the problem is? When election time comes, the people that are suffering, the low-income people, the poor, primarily live in the inner city, in poor neighborhoods. These people, with every election that goes by, I believe less and less of these people are getting out and voting.
Yeah, they don't vote.
They don't vote.
And
this is the problem.
Republicans want to keep them from voting.
Now, if the poor and the low-income people, including the seniors and the handicapped, if they all got out there and voted, I predict a landslide victory for the Democrats, or you know, maybe a good progressive independent. I predict landslide if the votes got out there from the inner city and from the poor neighborhoods. Could you imagine? The Republicans would probably, and thankfully, never be in control of New Jersey or Washington, for that matter. You know, and but they don't get out and vote. They don't. They feel that their vote is not going to make a difference. But what are you going to do? You're going to let the GOP always win, and then you're going to end up destitute.
That's what's been happening.
With nothing. You're going to end up with nothing. So that's a big part of the problem. Chris Christie, he can say anything he wants. He can come up with any cute slogan he wants to. The only people that are going to be happy and experience the so-called American dream and wave the flag, Yankee Doodle Dandy, patriotic, blah, 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 are the rich. Because the middle class and the poor are not going to experience this feel-good, Jersey comeback, whatever, American dream thing, concept. It's not going to happen. It's not realistic. And Chris Christie, it is the New York Giants that are in the Super Bowl, not the Jersey Giant, not the New Jersey Giants. And he wants to, because the Giants are in the Super Bowl, Chris Christie all of a sudden wants to make claim of the football team. And he had a little bit of a debate through the media with Michael Bloomberg, whom I can't stand. Also, no, the team plays in East Rutherford, New Jersey, which is a suburb of New York City. And they are traditionally the New York Giants. Good luck 2 weeks from now. Go Giants! Anyway, it's our team, so I don't live far from where they play, Giant Stadium.
5 days before a critical vote, senators are abandoning an anti-piracy bill they had supported after an outpouring of online opposition to tinkering with internet freedoms.
Oh, I hate that. Oh, that's...
Senate Democratic leaders still plan to vote Tuesday on taking up the Protect International Property Act, and supporters were scrambling to make changes before then to answer some of the critics. But it was questionable whether they had the 60 votes needed. A half dozen of the 40 original co-sponsors of what is known as PIPA, P-I-P-A, withdrew their support on Wednesday amid a one-day protest blackout by Wikipedia and other web giants and a flood of emails to Capitol Hill offices that at times doubled the normal volumes. When more than 7 million sign a petition on Google saying the Senate bill and its counterpart in the House would censor the web and impose burdensome regulations on U.S. businesses, lawmakers listen. No, they don't. No, they don't. Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat of Oregon, a leading opponent of the bill, said, "The groundswell of opposition to legislation dealing with the esoteric subject of copyright law showed that Americans understand that while combating copyright infringement is important, you shouldn't do extensive damage to the net." He called the protests historic. In terms of communicating with government, the country is never going to be the same. The Senate bill and the parallel Stop Online Piracy Act are opposed by internet-related industries that say they will lead to censorship of the internet and a surge in lawsuits that will discourage budding internet entrepreneurs. You know about this megaupload.com place?
No.
Where you're supposed to, you can download a BitTorrent.
Yeah.
That it will download files for you.
File transfer?
And transfer.
Well, if you go to filehippo.com, you see many file transfer free programs.
Well, that's what the big boys, Sony and BMI and all these other places, want to cut out and stop. They want to stop you from taking a song and listening to it.
What about LimeWire? Do they want to stop LimeWire?
Do they give it away free, LimeWire?
Well, what happens with... Well, there's a free version. What happens with LimeWire and the others similar to LimeWire, there's one called Aries, which I happen to think is better. Aries.com, Aries, spelled like the astrological sign, I believe a capital A-R-E-S. It's actually better than LimeWire. What happens is, if somebody in the world on their hard drive who has LimeWire or Aries installed, if they have a particular file of something that you want, you can download it from their hard drive to yours and get it for free. No,
and it'll take a large file.
Like let's say I lived in Florida, in Jupiter, Florida, and you were up here, and you had something that I wanted that I didn't feel like paying for. I could get it from your computer. It would automatically, or Aries would automatically download it from your computer into my hard drive, and I would get it for free. Now, also, the problem is there are a lot of corrupted files of, whether it be videos, or whatever, or songs. There are many corrupted files on other people's computer that you're taking a risk. It happened to me a couple times. But usually the warning, your antivirus would let you know. And the problem is that your computer is more open to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Because now...
reverse attack.
Yeah, now you have...
You've opened up the port.
You've opened up the port, an extra port. Of course, if you wanna broadcast anything through the internet like we do, you have to have an open port. But too many open ports equals too many invitations to Trojans and viruses and things of that nature, corrupt files, and possibly hacking, right?
Yeah.
So this is the risk you take. You can get what you want, anything you want for free, through your LimeWire or your Aries, but there's a risk. Now, I assume they don't like these types of programs, but you can't stop your average Joe six-pack from sharing something that
they want to do that.
That they have, because it's nobody's fucking business. What you
Big
have...
boys think it's their business.
If you have something on your...
And that is theirs.
If you have something...
You know that?
But if you have something on your PC, and it happens to be, let's say you paid for it, and you have a buddy on in California that would like to have it, and you don't mind him having it, you have every right to share things for free with a friend.
But they don't want that, because they want that friend to go out and buy that CD.
Like you did. But isn't this invasion of privacy?
It's a lot of things.
Isn't it invasion of privacy? Telling people what to do, telling you that you can't watch porn.
But those things go by the wayside when it comes down to the bottom line for a big company.
But they can't get into somebody's personal life.
They want to.
Then that's fascism.
Well, they still want it.
But
they've been stopped now. Listen. But they will come back. Every so often in New Jersey.
Yeah.
The dietitians come out like cockroaches.
Right.
And they want to put through a bill.
Right.
To knock off all nutritionists. They, the dietitians, want to be the only arbiters of nutrition, information, or whatever in the state of New Jersey.
But they don't know shit.
That's correct.
Registered dietitians.
But they keep coming back.
They're the ones that designed those wonderful, that wonderful hospital food that you get in the hospital. The master's degree that it takes to be a registered dietitian, this is what they do with the master's degree. They know nothing about treating and curing and preventing disease and illnesses with nutritional supplementation. They know nothing. They wouldn't know homeopathy or naturopathy or herbal medicine or whatever, or mega vitamin therapy. They wouldn't know if it bit them on the ass. They wouldn't know what the hell it is.
Well, they want to be able to tell you what it is. They want to be the only ones to do that. So
well,
that's what they do.
Hey, bro, they
wait till the brouhaha to go down, and then they come back again.
I got news for brouhaha. What I have on my hard drive and in my dresser drawers is nobody's fucking business, and especially when it comes to the fat cats, corporate America, which I despise. I despise corporate CEOs. It's nobody's damn business. I think Jesse Ventura and Alex Jones would probably say the same thing.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
that's
anyway.
why we got to keep vigilant, because they will come back. I just wanted to add something to the Christie article that we just went through.
Up against the skull, yeah.
Just to get an idea of if his tax cut went through, his 10% tax cut.
Yeah.
Here's how it would affect people. Somebody making $15,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
Their tax cut, 10% cut, would be $21.
Big fucking deal.
Somebody making $50,000 a year, their tax cut would be $80.50. Somebody making $1 million, their tax cut would be $7,265.75.
Huh.
See? So it always benefits the big boys.
Any form of flat tax always benefits the big boys. It's always
they keep
been
coming
that way.
back with it, though, don't they?
But the public believes the hype that comes from the Republicans. They believe the conservative propaganda. They believe what your Chris Christies and your Mitt Romneys and your Santorums and all the other Republicans from the Bible Belt states, all the religious nuts, they believe them all. Newt Gingrich, it goes down the line. That other bubblehead idiot, Bachman, who's out of the picture.
Well, they're out now. There's only 4 left now. You got Paul, you got Santorum, you got the Salamander, and you got the Mitten.
Yeah, I just want to let people know, I always was very fond of amphibians as a creature. I have nothing against salamanders. I've had salamanders as pets. So I do not want you to get the wrong idea that I am anti-amphibian, anti-salamander when we call Newt the slimy salamander. It just so happens we got to call him something other than his real name in a derogatory sense. We cannot...
To give the impression of a lowlife.
Right. He's under a rock. He crawls and lives under a rock until the sun goes down. You know, they're nocturnal. They're slimy. They live under rotted logs. You know, we don't want to give Newt Gingrich a compliment, just like when we talk about Chris Christie or any of the right-wing nuts. Greedy, wicked, devil's economics people. But you know what? People on the internet will continue to waste their time with stupid, asinine things. People will continue not to care about politics and what's happening to their country. They just want to talk about, I don't know, Snooki and Kim Kardashian and music industry people and watch stupid videos. Like, I know people in pro wrestling industry, all they do is talk about their match. Oh, how did I look in my last match? Oh, did my match look good? They could care less about what's happening to the country. You know, this is I mean, the end times. Hey, it's in Bible prophecy.
Now, here's something very interesting.
Really?
In a major defeat for porn studios, the Los Angeles City Council passed a city ordinance on Tuesday requiring porn actors to wear condoms during their filming.
No wonder I see more condoms today in pornography. I never used to see condoms in the past. Raincoats.
The 9-1 vote marks a significant victory for the LA-based AIDS Health Care Foundation.
Maybe they don't want the wrong example to be set for kids. That they figure if the porn actors and actresses are going bareback, then the kids feel that, why should I use the condom? Interesting.
Which has been rallying for years to protect the health of porn performers. For years, lawmakers have largely ignored or dismissed the calls to crack down on porn filming in which condoms aren't used. But last year, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation gathered signatures to ask voters to pass an ordinance requiring adult film producers to use condoms during filming and pay a fee that would fund surprise inspections.
Surprise inspections. So what are they going to do? They're going to come on during the filming of the set?
You got a condom on there, buddy?
Hey, spread your legs there. Let me see that schlong. Let me see that shillelagh. Stiff shillelagh. Hey, you got no condom on. Cut! 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 I said cut!
Hey, I just thought of something.
Takes away from the sensitivity, the feel, unfortunately.
Some of those porn stars.
Yeah.
There ain't condoms to fit them.
You have to. Well,
they're going to go down half of the schlong on it.
Yeah, but they have one called Magnum. They have a condom.
You think that's going to fit Peter North, or would it fit John Holmes?
Nah, it's, from what I understand, it's an extra large condom to accommodate the big schlong.
I don't think they make them for that.
Dong and Schlong Productions. No?
I don't think so.
Well, I guess they have to.
It's going to go halfway down.
I guess they have to use a shopping bag, a plastic bag from the supermarket.
Saran wrap.
No, a shopping bag. You know, regular plastic shopping bag. That would be funny. Hey, we have a local supermarket called ShopRite here. Didn't it used to say "Why pay more" on it in the old days? Their slogan. Well, it's a lot cheaper than condoms, and they're very thin too.
Are they reusable too?
No, I wouldn't reuse. Wait a minute. Oh, you little rascal! Hey, you little rascal! Maybe they are washable because they're I'm serious. They're strong.
They're probably not biodegradable for like billions and billions of years.
They're strong and they're very thin at the same time. So maybe you will. Hold on. Oh, we're doing a show.
Much like lambs.
No, we're on the air.
I'm gonna leave some cat food out here.
Oh, I gotta cut
okay.
Hold on.
I'm taking care of Stevie.
All right.
You know what? Old Beelzebub always finds a way to try to fuck up our show. Anyway, it had to do with cat food for
our mousers.
For the mousers we have here at the Newsletter Censored.
Some cat food for the mousers.
Yeah, Newsletter Censored Research Center. So you know what? Maybe I'll leave it in for a little comedy.
Yeah, a
little comedy. Hey, we're talking about.
And we're humans.
We're talking about.
We're humans. We take care of the cats.
Well, we're animal lovers.
Oh yeah.
You know, and we are very much in favor of neutering and spaying dogs and cats. So you people out there that want pets, be responsible and research the animal before you get it. And don't just get it because it's cute on impulse. Be responsible. There's nothing more heartbreaking than raising an animal and then having to give it up and have it sit in some stinking, filthy, smelly animal shelter that you know in behind bars where it might be put to sleep.
70% of all the cats that go into the shelters end up dying, being killed.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. And it's worth mentioning on the show. This is important. But getting back to the condoms, you know, yeah, the plastic bags, you can maybe wash them, and as long as you don't use hot water, and turn them inside out, let them dry, then use the other side. And then do the same thing. And then
but this is only for the guys who are huge, okay?
Only for the guys, unless you're cheap and, you know, unless you're Eugene Krabs from SpongeBob and you don't want to spend the money on condoms. But anyway, finish this article, please.
Last week, City Council members signaled that they believed the porn condom measure would pass and decided to adopt the AIDS group's proposed ordinance to avoid a costly $4 million special election this June.
So they want to avoid a condemnation. Condemnation.
According to here, 9-1, there was not too much condemning going on. And the porn industry has to wear condoms.
Answer me this, Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. Answer me this. It's like riddle me this from the Batman series. Is it true or is it not true, Dr. Bill, that the porno actors and actresses receive HIV testing as well as other venereal disease testing before they participate in a porno movie?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes. However,
the
HIV test is worthless.
It is?
Yes, it can be compromised by 20-some other diseases. A cold, the flu, will give you a positive reading.
Really?
It's garbage.
So, it
makes money for its the patent holder.
So what that means is that's like a woman putting all her faith in a pap smear, you know, as far as the health of her gynecological problem. So what that means is that the HIV test, if it comes back positive, it usually warrants a second or perhaps a third HIV test to accurately diagnose.
No, because there is no test. There is no test.
And why is there no real test?
Because HIV is not the cause of AIDS. Number one.
So isolating an HIV virus was never really done.
Never done. Never
you
done.
hear this? This is not joking. This is not a joke. This is heavy duty material. They never
heavy duty material that is kept from you.
So they, in reality, and you did. There is a Mr. Michael J. Talmo, a very old and close, very brilliant friend of yours, did a reading, not a reading. He wrote he helped you write one of your censored readings.
He wrote it.
He wrote it, based on the AIDS epidemic, and they never isolated a virus that caused AIDS.
Wants to, if anyone wants to research that, just go to GaryNull.com. It's there.
Go to GaryNull.com and also Google. Go to Censored on Demand Archive Classics, and it's there. One of the archive shows is the whole entire AIDS story, and Michael Talmo did a very good in-depth research of this this shocking fiasco.
Yeah.
Okay, now being that we are out of time, do you have a short but good article?
I have two, not so short, but I can do them in a few minutes here.
Like, in other words, all right, start with
they're very important.
Start with the most hardest hitting.
No, both hard hitting.
In case we both faint or pass.
The Republican presidential candidates are quick to criticize President Obama's handling of the economy. They claim his policies have resulted in continued high unemployment and a slow rate of recovery. What we never hear discussed, however, is the unprecedented lack of cooperation by their party's members of Congress in addressing the recovery effort. Obama's stimulus package, comprised of tax cuts, infrastructure spending, and small business incentives, was passed in February 2009 without support from a single Republican in the House and 37 of the 40 Republicans in the Senate.
Tax cuts for the rich are not going to stimulate anything.
Just 5 months earlier, 85% of all congressional Republicans supported a similar stimulus requested by El Presidente G.W. Bush.
It's not going to create jobs in the U.S.
With the economy on the verge of collapse,
mainland China,
into a second depression, Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican of Kentucky,
Mitch McConnell, yes,
the Senate's minority leader, announced that his party's #1 priority was not jobs, not economic health for the American people, but making certain Obama would not be re-elected.
Mitch McConnell, a demon, a disciple of the devil's economics, yes.
For the last 3 years, Republicans have used every political maneuver to obstruct, delay, or defeat every Democratic initiative. Jobs bills, infrastructure spending, small business tax credits, they have always supported. They opposed the individual mandate in the health care law, even though it was a Republican idea to begin with. They voted against bills sponsored by their own members once Obama indicated his support. They even blocked the ratification of the START Treaty, a measure every president since Ronald Reagan has negotiated to reduce nuclear arms and to gain access to the location of Russia's nukes. The economy has been slow to recover. Obama must accept part of the blame. To listen to the Republican candidates, however, you would think that the economy was flourishing when Obama assumed the presidency.
That emotion, I love it.
We know that is false. We have now seen 20 consecutive months of private sector job growth. Unemployment is falling and the economy slowly growing. We can only wonder where the recovery would be if the GOP had given Obama any help at all. Considering the actions of the GOP these past 3 years, it is somewhat amazing that the economy has recovered at all.
Yeah. Wow, that was, I think you broke your own record. I think that was the fastest reading of a large, hard-hitting article that you've ever done. Almost like all in one breath.
All the Republican candidates have concentrated on a top-down approach to job creation. President Obama's approach has been more mixed, but there needs to be more of a bottom-up stress. The track record of tax breaks and job creation has been largely negative. In the Clinton years, there were higher taxes and more job creation. In the George W. Bush years, there were tax breaks, lackluster job growth, and great concentration of wealth. Those who are pushing for less regulation have amnesia. How quickly have they forgotten how a deregulated finance industry brought the world economy to the brink of disaster?
That's right. That's right.
GOP presidential aspirant Mitt Romney.
Aspirant?
Aspirant.
Aspirant. Okay.
Especially likes to speak of the rich as the job creators.
Oh, here we go again.
Let's set the record straight. If I went to the bank with a great idea for a business, before they ever gave me a loan, they would want to see my business plan. Part of that plan would have to be sales projection. If I didn't have a market or couldn't create a market, the bank wouldn't make the loan.
Would they look at your background too to see if you had the qualifications to make it happen?
Well, they're not going to give you the money for that though.
Oh, okay.
You got to have these things.
Like a prospectus, a projection.
You got to make sure that you can make the money come in. If you can't do that, it's the same thing with the newsletter.
You can't do like when
money don't come in.
The money don't come in. You can't do like Ralph Cramden and Ed Norton when they wanted to open up a hot dog stand, and they went to get borrow money from the bank. It's not that easy anymore. I'm serious.
So let's shout out what no one is saying.
Yeah, let's do it.
The job creators are...
The job creators?
Creators are...
Where? Which country?
Here. The consumer!
The consumer. The little...
Not the people sitting on money.
The little schmuck. The backbone of the U.S. economy. The true consumer has always been the little guy.
And there will always be an opportunity for the better mousetrap or iPod. And there will be money available to invest in the next great idea. But unless people have the money to buy it, the idea will go nowhere.
The true consumer of America also includes the small business owner, the mom and pop store, the entrepreneurs.
That's it. The ones that Walmart put out of business all the time.
They're part of the middle class that's suffering, that's becoming extinct, The little guy includes not only the poor, but the small business owners.
And it includes the middle class now.
Main Street people. Main
Street. Being destroyed.
Not Wall Street people. Main Street people. And that's it. That was a fantastic show.
It is not the Democrats who have divided people.
No.
It's the money. There's the 30%, you know, 30% that have, and the 70% that don't. That's the real division in America, and it's called inequality, and is the highest among all the industrialized nations of this world.
That's right. That's right. And you know, the jobs that are created by the top 1% are in mainland China, and that's like that sweatshop I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Foxconn sweatshop, 31 cents an hour, no benefits, and living in dormitories. Some of those girls, those Chinese women, don't even know each other's name. It's gotten so, it's almost like they were like drones, you know, like
and they have
androids.
They have to wear diapers because they're not allowed to be away from their station for any period of time.
Oh, is that true?
So I have to pee and poo in their diapers.
Is that true?
Or if they can afford, depends.
They wear adult.
Yes, yes.
You might turn on some guys out there. I bet some guys have a fetish about changing the diaper of a woman. That's horrible.
The woman ain't going to have the time to allow him to change her diaper because she's got to put whatever she's put together. She can't leave her station.
This is what they want.
14 hours a day, 18 hours a day.
The objective of the right-wing conservatives is a global corporate plutocracy with the little people enslaved. This is the real truth, the real objective of the greedy old party, the GOP. It is not the propaganda that you've been hearing. So you lemmings better go back. You know, it's time to
open up the mind.
Open up your mind and get educated. Do some research. Don't be lazy. And the Democratic Party, if we don't have a strong progressive independent, which we don't, unfortunately, the Democrat, because
all parties are pathological.
Right, but the Democrats need, very important, need to try very hard to get the poor out of the inner cities and out of the poor neighborhoods and to the polls, and to get the little guy, including the poor, to vote, because the little guy who's got nothing is not going to vote for a conservative.
But the Republicans are trying to stop that. That's why they were.
Well,
in the old days,
got to stop them, brother. We got to stop. Got to be stopped.
They tried to stop the blacks and the poor from voting by a poll tax. You had to pay something to be able to vote, or you had to have property to be able to vote. Today, they are going to require that you have an ID, which you have to pay for.
Oh, that's right. The IDs.
Yes. Yeah, they want you to have an ID.
The digital
ID
with the holograph inside. Yes. The digital ID.
Yes.
Because everybody in America, even if you were born in this country, you're all guilty until proven innocent.
Oh, we are all terrorists.
Is that how it works? Huh?
We are all terrorists, according to the Defense Authorization Bill that Obama just signed.
So if you're,
yes, we are all terrorists.
So if you're born and raised in the U.S. of A., they could turn around and say, you know what, we don't like you too much.
You know who got groped the other day at the airport?
Who?
Rand Paul. Ron Paul's son. He didn't like it too much.
Oh, really?
And he made a big fuss.
Oh, because he's the son of Ron Paul.
Yeah. It's about time, you know, I mean, we need to make a fuss about it, but obviously the TSA and the government don't give a damn.
Well, Jesse Ventura was really irate and pissed off about the groping at the, was it Minneapolis St. Paul airport?
And then the judge screwed him.
And he got screwed. Yeah. So his rights were like, screw.
Rights? What are those?
Oh, he served in Vietnam as a Navy SEAL. He's born and raised in Minnesota in the U.S. Oh, screw you. You were, so no respect.
That's it.
Just no respect.
Yeah.
Fascism, it's a-coming. The end times, brother. The beast, the mark of the beast, it's all coming into play.
Without natural affection.
Without the new issue of Censored. What is that thing that was rattling?
You need it.
Without natural, without natural affection, you need newsletter censored. You need newsletter censored. I just want to say, for all you James P. Madonna fans out there, if you want to get an authentic imported Blackthorn Irish Shillelagh, a James P. Madonna prop of your very own, is not too far away. I'm not talking about President's Day or
Valentine's Day,
or the pagan St. Valentine's Day Massacre Day. I'm talking about St. Patrick's Day. Go to XavierGifts.com. That's www.Xavier XAVIER.com. XavierGifts.com for the finest in Irish imports, and email Patty and tell Patty that you...
How apropos, Patty.
Right, tell Patty that you've seen the shillelagh on Progressive Discussions. You saw James P. Madonna waving it around every friggin' week, and you would like to purchase one of your own, and you can get your very own shillelagh. Could you imagine masses and masses of progressive liberals swinging these around?
I wonder what the Republicans would do if, like, Democrats showed up with shillelaghs at town meetings, like the Tea Parties, you know, showed up with AK-47s on their shoulders.
Could you imagine how deafening it would be if everybody knocked on the table like a million gavels
at a Christie meeting?
Boom, 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 boom. Every time Christie tried to talk, boom, 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 bang, 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 bang. But Christie, he's getting fatter and fatter every time I see him. He is really he is the poster boy for gluttonous, greedy, mean-spirited Republicans, without a doubt. You know, and Newt Gingrich is not that far from him, not far behind. The Gingrinch. Anyway, thank you for joining us for Progressive Discussion. So long. Say goodbye to these people.
Hasta la vista, baby.
All right.